We are experimenting with ways of getting kids to sort of reach out to the community around them. We wanted to make kids connect with people in our neighborhood. So symbolically we picked people who are dispossessed, like the people who are impoverished, the people at the Salvation Army. We're also trying to connect with senior citizens and the elderly because we live right next door to Dawson Court. And we also have in our midst a psychiatric hospital. We also have in our school people who are physically challenged. So we're trying to get people nearby.
Well, I heard through our Community and Family Services Director, Kathy Oleschuk, that there was an interest with the high school and working cooperatively together, and that they were interested in forming a choir. And this was something that was shared, and there was an excitement here in the building that there a number of people would like to be part of the choir. So we think it's a great opportunity to work together.
When we went down there, we had a couple weeks of songs, carols, and then I had an interesting talk with one of the residents named, I think, Wayne. And he said to me that Christmas carols for people that live there are not what they want to sing. He said to me, "You sing a Christmas carol, I'm out of here." He said, "Christmas for these kids is different than what Christmas is for us."
What we were doing was intending to be something of a reaching out and an act in solidarity and something to do together, but somehow what we had planned became divisive. And I think because, generally speaking, most of the kids come from a background quite different from those who are accessing help at Salvation Army, that was just so shocking for them to think that that would be someone's memory of a holiday that often we anticipate, you know, in a religious sense in terms of bringing joy with the Savior coming to the world, and maybe in our family experience in terms of, you know, bringing fond memories back, that this would be something that would just be a huge eye-opener for them. And well, once again, I think, you know, reiterating to the kids, saying this is really why we're going there, to connect with these people and to try to ultimately show them that there are others out there who care for them. You know, I try to teach them, you know, the love of God and the love of Jesus because I teach religion, and so it's something I can use those examples of how they are showing this genuine concern for those who are outcast. But then teaching what's in my curriculum becomes so easy. So I personally felt a lot better today. You know, Joy to the World was maybe a little bit of a stretch.
It's given the men and the ladies an opportunity just to enjoy themselves and share with the teenagers and to do something that some of them have wanted to do for many years and they haven't been able to.
It's sometimes very touching for me to see my students connecting with people in the community. There's nothing that I could really teach them out of a textbook that would ever compare to the life lessons that they're gaining through these experiences. As I looked around the room, I saw the look of contentment and joy on the students' faces. And I saw it reflected back in the faces of the residents. And it was such an awesome moment for me. But I went there with, I mean, most of these experiences are leaps of faith. The whole project is just like taking a stand out there and not really knowing what's going to happen. It's kind of like it must be the right thing to do because it all falls into place. And so when I saw the girl, it was almost like the student I least expected. She was, you know, the student who was quiet in the room, or the student who maybe didn't look that outgoing in terms of meeting others. So not only was I surprised that a student would take that step forward and to, you know, really reach out, or another student who would say, It meant so much to me because I held so-and-so's hand, and I need to go back to see her again. But I think people innately know what other people need, and I think that they both gained equally, you know, both groups.
My position is the group is to try and get my visual arts students and media arts students to connect with the homeless people, the elderly, the mentally and physically challenged, okay? And so far, we have, this is maybe a little bit far-fetched as an art project, but we did one day where we sat and we just painted molds with different chocolate. And we made these handmade chocolates, and then we went down to the soup truck one night with the Justice League, our 3 students that represent poverty, the elderly, and the mental and physically challenged. And they handed out some of these chocolates to some of the people at the soup truck as an extra. My students have not actually gone down to the Salvation Army, but we do have a wall that we are going to design a mural for in the food storage area. So all that we're working on this idea of keeping dignity. So that's one of the things my art students are doing. We're trying to come up with a mural that will promote dignity, that can go on the wall where the people come to get their food from the Salvation Army. I would like to see that some of my colleagues would start to put some social justice lessons into their classrooms a little more. Some of them already do, but I really think that we need to do that so we keep a strong generation growing of students that are going to become adults and are actually going to practice some of the things that we've been doing in class when it comes to disabled, mentally challenged, poverty, or homeless people.
With the group, I represent poverty. There's 3 of us, excuse me, and we each represent an aspect of society that we think should be advocated for. We don't think they feel a sense of equality and justice that they should.
I represent justice for the disabled, both mentally and physically.
Within the group, I am known as the superhero that advocates for the elderly. Social justice would have to be informing people, getting it out there. Definitely the fact that there are things that we need to change in this world, and that's really where we need to start, is just making people aware of it.
Well, social justice to me is somewhat self-descriptive. It means justice among a community, social justice in the society, in a group of people.
In this school, I've felt that the student body can kind of be a little harsh at times, and that would be how I would feel. Not as equal to my peers or judged or anything like that. It hasn't been too harsh outside of school, so I think it's important that our group is working with the student body first. I'd like to see more from this group. We haven't been able to do too much, but I'd like to see us get more involved with the community and the student body especially. I'm sure that we'll be having things planned up. I think we have a concert type thing happening soon, and I think with a bit more organization and a bit more planning, we can make a difference with the school body, and I'd really like to see that.
I hope people take away from it. I really hope that it changes them, not just a, wow, this was pretty cool, we should do something, and then they forget about it kind of thing. I really hope this impacts them, because I know it's impacted me.
I hope that people will take from this that justice is not something that can be put on the back burner. It's to be something that is brought into your heart and welcomed, and you should be able to say, hey, I know that what this person is doing is not right, and they can take action against injustices, excuse me, and make things the way that they're supposed to be.
You know, people's lives are being changed, even just a small, tiny bit at a time. And I really think that what we do throughout the project, but also in class, is that I think that people aren't going to forget. That I think it'll stay with them long term.
Kids will come out of an education system with all the tools they need, which is important educationally, but if they could come out with their heart in the right spot, you know, if they could get out of school and realize that they're connected to people around them, and you know, and if they're willing to look a homeless person in the eye and say hello, if they're willing to help a senior citizen, if they're willing to not judge someone who's physically disabled, I mean, I think that ultimately that's really where the payoff is for me.